Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to upload JSON data to MongoDB using Python. So I recently developed a crawler that extracts the data of all active footballers. The data is highly unstructured, so I decided to store it in JSON format and upload it to MongoDB. The data is quite huge. I had around 169,000 players. If you need access to this data, there will be a link in the description. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'll be using a smaller database, which consists of around 5 players, which I'll share it for free in my GitHub repo. So the first thing you need to do after you've created your MongoDB account, set up your cluster. You need to create a database. I'm going to name mine player data, collection name, player data collection, and click on create. That's going to take some time. And there we have it. Total documents are 0. Now we are going to be uploading our JSON data to this collection. Now how do we connect to this collection and our database? For that, we'll be using a powerful framework known as Pymongo, and we'll also need a connection string, which consists of a username and password. For that, click on Overview, then Connect, then click on Drivers, then copy this connection string. As you can see, we have a username here, and this is where you'll fill in your password. So once that's copied, close it. Then open your Visual Studio Code. This is where we'll be developing our scripts. We have our main.py file, and we have our JSON data, which just has 4 players so far. Create a config file where we'll store the connection string. This is sensitive info. Give it a variable of URI and paste it in. This is where you'll paste in your password. I won't show you mine for obvious reasons. Install Pymongo, pip install Pymongo. So after Pymongo is installed, we'll also need to install pandas. We'll be using pandas to process our JSON file. So just install pandas using pip. Then we can begin by importing our packages. So we'll first import our Mongo client from Pymongo. So from Pymongo, import Mongo client. Then we'll import pandas using an alias of pd. Import pandas as pd. Then import JSON. We'll be using this to process our JSON data. Then we are also going to import the URI from the config.py file. So from config, import URI. The next step is then to write a function to connect to our database. So define a function known as getDB. Client, Mongo client. This will establish a connection to, this part establishes a connection to our database. We then need to return our client with our database name. So player data. So when you run this function, get db, I'm just going to store it in a variable known as database. This will return our database. But remember, from the database, we'll also need the collection, which is our player data collection. So collection database, which is player data collection. So now that you have access to our collection, you can proceed to upload our data to the collection. But first of all, you need to process our JSON data. It's currently in a file. We need to store them. We'll need to store them as Python dictionaries before uploading them to MongoDB. So first of all, read the JSON file using pandas. So pd.read JSON, that is player data .json. We're going to store it in a variable known as data frame. We can then convert the data frame into JSON records. So records is equals to data frame. We'll use the toJSON method, so toJSON, and pass the parameter orient as records. So we have our JSON records. We then need to convert these records into Python dictionaries. For that, we'll be using the JSON module. So JSON.loads records. I'm going to store this in a variable called documents. So documents. Then we can proceed to insert the data into MongoDB. So collection.insert many. We'll pass in the documents. Let's just store this in a variable known as results, and we can print it and see what it does. Print results. Let's just test it. So run it, Python main.py. So it's going to connect to the database, process the JSON file, convert them into JSON dictionaries, then insert them into our collection. This is the result. It should have updated our player data collection. You can refresh it. Yeah, that's it. We have around 169,000 players. We have their profile data, position data, agency info, their club stats. You can see we have the clubs, appearances, goals, assists, minutes, the national team stats, appearances, goals, debut, agent debut, and the current season stats. And if you need access to it, I'll have a link in the description, and there will be instruction for you of how you can get it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. I hope you've learned something new from this video, and if you found this video useful, you can give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and subscribe for similar content. Thank you so much for watching.